not very easy for me to say. I just wanted to tell you guys that I failed. I mean, even the very words coming out of my mouth is just too much. I don't even know how to wrap my head around this whole thing. This is not my life. This is not me. This is unreal. What was that all about? Hey loves, welcome to my channel. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for coming back again. I truly appreciate you. Thank you for staying loyal. And before wasting any more time, let's get right into it. Why this video? So, what am I talking about? Hard work pays, guys. And that's something that I didn't understand when I was in grade 10. Just a little bit of background. I've always been, around my parents. I've always been to schools very close to home where I can walk to school and come back home. And when I went to high school from grade 10 to grade 12, I went to boarding school. So now when you are in boarding school, you are away from parents, which means that you kind of have freedom to do you away from everyone else. And that's exactly what I did. When I went to grade 10, when I went to boarding school, I did me. So I spent most of the time in grade 10 trying to find myself. And because this was a mixed boarding school with boys and girls, different hostels, but in the same kind of, the main yard was for all of us, and then the 2 yards were divided. I don't know if that even makes sense, but yeah, that's what was happening. And for the first time, I was exposed to boys throughout the day, at school, at lunch, just before we go to sleep at night. Wow. You get to see different people, because I hadn't even been really exposed to relationships that much. I had always been dating one guy for forever, and I hadn't really explored life that much. So for the first time, I'm seeing all these handsome faces and I'm just like, oh my gosh. So a friend of mine and I, when it was time for people to focus and study and whatnot, we used to be behind the shop just to watch people, to just watch the guys and see who's checking us out and check people out and all of that. And that cost me a lot. Come end of first term, I failed. I've never failed in my life. I failed. And I was so embarrassed. And even my mom was very embarrassed, because I think if you are from a black family, you would know this. If you've always been an overachiever, you are kind of like the pride of the family. And every time that you pass, your report is paraded to all family members. This is how my child did. It's a proud moment. And for the first time, my mom didn't have that proud moment. And that hurt me. And I had to then remember what was underneath all of that. And this is what actually motivated me. So there was 3 of us in our room in hostel. And one of the girls in my room was an overachiever, like me, except that I wasn't doing what she was doing. So she was working very hard. She was a hard worker. Ooh, that girl was a hard worker. And she's an academic at heart. She used to study like nobody's business. And then while she was doing that, she would wake up very early and switch on the light. Me and my other roommate, who just didn't want to study, we were like, nope, switch off that light. We want to sleep. and we would have this long argument in the morning, and she would end up giving up, switching off the light. I can't believe that I was a bully once. Like, that's just not okay. And she ended up studying in a dusty storeroom that hasn't worked in a long time. But she did extremely well because she worked hard for her marks. And then I failed after I've been stopping her from studying while I'm not doing it myself. That broke me. Oh my gosh. That broke me. And from there on, I studied my heart out. I studied very hard. I studied, hey? I focused. I stopped being behind the shop watching people who do not help me achieve what I want, and I wasn't gonna let myself fail at the end of the year. So I studied so much, and as fate would have it, hard work paid. So what am I trying to say? I think sometimes we do not fail because we cannot do it. We fail because we are not putting in much work. So, I mean, there's a difference between someone who's doing their best and still fail, because then they would say that they have tried. And then there's someone like me who wasn't even trying and then they failed. So those are like two completely different people. So it's better to really do your best and fail or pass or whatever, but you have done your best, and that's what matters. And I think as far as bullying is concerned as well, I just learned that I have come to a realization that like bullies are people who are bullied themselves. It's like a power struggle. You have someone who is superior than you, who is belittling you, someone who is really, playing on top of your head. Therefore, you need to find someone who's inferior to do the same to, And I think some people just have like a lot of baggage from home, and therefore that's why they because they don't have power from where they come from, then they use their little power that they have to the people that they think they can overpower. Right? So, I mean, bullying is never right at all. But I know that for myself, the reason why I was even bullying this girl is because for the first time I had like sort of an upper hand, because I've been bullied my whole life, and for the first time I tried to bully someone and I got away with it, and therefore I thought, oh, I can actually get away with this a little bit more. And that's why we would do it every day, because now I had the power that I've never had. But that was coming from having been wounded for so many times that now I had the power to wound someone else, which was wrong in itself. Completely wrong. But what am I trying to say to you? That hard work definitely pays. I've seen it work in my life. And I mean, in case you are wondering why I went to the art route, one day we will discuss what is it that I wanted to do initially, or rather what I thought I wanted to do. So we will talk about why art. Why art? I mean, I love art, but we'll talk a little bit more in detail as to why I chose the route of art and not science or any one of these careers. But I think the lessons from this video, and something that I learned throughout my life through this experience, is that number one, hard work pays. Definitely, it pays. Number two, don't do whatever you can. Don't do just anything. Do everything in your power to achieve your goals. I mean, obviously you pray a lot, but while you are praying, you also really put your heart and soul into this, whatever it is that you want to achieve, because even the Bible says faith without work is dead. So while you are praying, do something about it. Do something about it and ask God for strength to pull through, right? And number three is that you can achieve anything you want. You really can. And number four, the most important lesson of all is that when you fall, get up. Learn something from the mistakes that you have made and get up. Because that's something that I really did at that point. I realized that the reason why I failed is because I wasn't working very hard. Number two is because instead of learning from my roommate how to work hard, I was rather, destroying her spirit. And when I realized that, I then started studying well. She was a little bit extreme, but I started making her an example for me as to what I'm supposed to be doing on a daily for me to actually get the marks that I wanted. I mean, I remember even when I was in grade 12, I used to look at her door behind underneath her door to see if her light is off. Just when I wanted to go to sleep, she doesn't know about this. Just when I was about to go to sleep, and I would see that her light is on, and I would not be able to sleep because I'm like, that girl works hard. So I would actually end up continuing to study in the middle of the night because she's studying. So, and it wasn't even like a competition between the two of us because we were not even in the same class, but she was just a motivation for me of hard work. She was kind of like a role model of what hard work looks like. So I think, yeah, learn from your mistakes and do better. I hope this video helps you if you were about to give up or if you were about to stop doing your best. I hope it motivates you to do better. And have an amazing day ahead.